Perfect. Alrighty. And let me unmute Amanda.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you, love?
Good. I'm
Good.
excited to be on with you guys tonight.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you guys. I got the opportunity to chat with Amanda's team last week, and it was just awesome. I'm going to do this. And then, there we go. So it was really amazing. I spoke to a ton of her leaders, and she said, well, when do I get to talk to your team? I said, well, how about Sunday night? So super excited. Like I said earlier, if you guys, everybody turn your video on. I think if someone is taking the time to share with our team, the least we can do is show them our face and show them that we are listening. So Amanda is amazing. I was thinking about it, Amanda. I think it was at Green Carpet last year. You randomly sat down next to me, and we're like so nervous, and we're getting on stage, and you're like kind of brand new in VIP, and then I saw you like up at corporate, and then you were on stage, and I was like, oh, this girl, she's a big deal. Who is this girl? And then we ended up being in Nebraska together at a couple other events. So gotten to know her, and you guys, she is just a wealth of knowledge. So I'm super excited to hear from her tonight. So Amanda, if you want to go ahead and just take it away, share a little bit about your story, and then our team has put together some questions for you.
Yeah, of course. And I remember, Allie, I was at Green Carpet, and I was like, I don't know anybody here. Like, this is my first time. Like, I went to presidential, like, I got introduced into, like, the VIP and all that kind of stuff, just like, you know, just so, it would just seem like, just like a blink of an eye almost. I mean, I've been in this business for 5 years, but, like, I just kind of got thrown in there. I was like, this is so crazy. I don't know anybody. So I sat next to Allie. I'm like, are you a presidential too? And she's like, I'm an ambassador. Like, so sweet and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I should totally know every ambassador here. And I was just like, oh my gosh, but she was so sweet. And then I met Jenny. And then ever since then, I just fell in love with them. So I am Amanda, you guys. I've been in this for almost 6 years in October, or November. And I'm like, when did I start? So November will be 6 years. But I started this just working full time as a dental hygienist just to make a little extra money. I've never done anything like this before, no background in it. I'm a little bit more on the shyer side until you get to know me. And I also didn't have a very good network. And so I was literally that person. You guys, you know, our potentials are like, well, I don't know if I have time. I don't have a big network. Like, I'm scared to post. Like, I'm that person. And however, I literally just jumped in this business without even like thinking anything twice, because my friend came over and she was excited. Like, she just made $700 in her first almost 2 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, how are you making money from your phone? Like, that's crazy to me. But even though I was so fearful of those things that I just explained to you, that all of our potentials are so fearful of, I like bought into her because of her excitement. I was like, well, she's having so much fun with this and she's loving it and she's making this money with it. Like, I want to do what she's doing, because, you know, we always want to follow that fun, right? Like, we always want to, like, we're going to, you know, if somebody's like there and they're loud and they're excited and they're happy, we're going to be that way too. And so I wanted to follow the fun with her. And so I joined up that night. I didn't have the money to join up, so I put on my credit card, and I literally paid that credit card off, you guys, in 3 days by selling my body wraps. I pre-sold them. So you guys can make money in this business like right away. But anyways, I got in this business, and the mindset of having $200 or $300 extra a month. And then my friend, you know, dragged me to this event, and she dragged me. She said, you have to come with me. And I said, okay. And it was just a one team, one mission, or a try it that we call it now. And there was like 15, 20 people there. So it was very small, just local. But I will tell you guys, I came into that event having the mindset of wanting $200 extra a month. And I left that event like with my heart just so full. Like, I was crying at that event, because I'm like, why am I selling myself short for only wanting $200 extra a month? Like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, it was so hard. It was so hard. And I was so, I had like anxiety and I felt like a guilty mom, and I had a really hard time leaving my son at childcare. And so after that event, I was like, I want to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom, bringing in an income. And so that was my goal, was to get to double diamond as soon as possible. And I just followed those top leaders. I followed those people who were literally working the business, showing up and just doing, every little thing. I was doing everything that they were doing, even if it was getting out of my comfort zone. And so, in about 5 months, I went double diamond and I was able to retire from hygiene. I got pregnant again with our second son, and I went down only 1 day a week. And then after him, I retired, and I've been retired ever since then. And then I stayed at Double for a while. Double was kind of rough for me because I went so fast and I didn't really know what I was doing. And so for me, I didn't know leadership. For me, if any of you guys you guys might, be really good or natural at leadership. For me, I'm just not. And I feel like most people are not like natural at leadership. I feel like leadership is a learned thing, and I wasn't ready for that leadership quite yet. And so I kind of struggled a little bit with my double diamond. I kept it for about 4 months, and then it just kind of went. And so then I just kind of worked, and I always kept working. I never stopped working. My doubt kind of seeped in a little bit, and, kind of had a hard time for a little bit, but I never stopped working. I never stopped believing in the process, because I always thought I had two options. Either one, I go back to dental hygiene, which that isn't an option for me, or two, I keep working this business and I keep going because I need to make money so I can stay home. And so that was my only option I had, was to keep going with this business. And so I did just that. And I got to Triple, I think it was a year after. I stayed at Triple for a little bit, and I was making some really good money as a Triple. I was making, what a presidential would make. So I kind of got a little complacent, and then I saw that my team was just so hungry, and we're ready for more. And the one thing that changed in my business was my mindset. So as soon as that changed, then that was when I met Allie when I went presidential. So anyways, I was Triple in November, and I started changing my mindset completely and diving more into self-development. And in May, I went presidential, and then this past March, I went ambassador, and my husband is my presidential.
Gosh, so you have an ambassador check and a presidential check coming into your house, which is amazing. You guys both earn bonuses like back-to-back months. Mm-hmm. And you just don't stop. You are so consistent. And there were ups, there were downs, you said it yourself, there were doubts. So where did that belief come from? Were you just super invested in the products? How did you know that you were capable, you were going to get there someday? Where did that belief come from?
I just kept going back to my why and why I'm doing this business, because I will tell you, I remember it so clearly. We were driving up north, and I was with my husband, and I lost my double, and I was just devastated. And I remember I was just maybe I'm just not good at this. Maybe and I kept thinking, because I was always getting distributors in, and I remember Pam was always your team will go at your speed. And I remember even messaging her. I was 8 months, less than a year into this business. And I'm Pam, my team isn't going at my speed. And you know how you can ask Pam questions? That's what I did. My team isn't going at my speed. I'm doing the steps to success multiple times a day, or not multiple times, multiple times a month. And I think her response to that was well, it was the mindset aspect of it. How are you pouring into your team? How are you, you might be doing your work, but how are you leading your team other ways? What's your mindset? What do you want for your team? What kind of distributors are you bringing on? Are you looking for that kind of thing? And so anyways, I was just really frustrated with my business, because I got here so fast. I'm yes. And then I just, I was pregnant and literally went down 1 day a week and about to retire. And so my career, my hygiene. And so I'm I can't go back to work. And so I remember complaining to my husband, and he was well, he's if it's, if you're like complaining like this, like it's showing me that you're not liking it. So he's like, why don't you just quit? And I remember I was so like taken back because he totally called me out on it. And I was like furious, like not at him, but at myself. Because I thought at that point, I'm like I just was silent. And I'm like, how can I ever complain about this? Like I am literally making money from my phone. And this is more than I ever made before. Like, why on earth do I have the right to even complain that I don't have a team that's working for me? And so I just kind of thought, and that was the last time I literally had ever complained about my business. Because if a thought or a complaint would come in, I'm like, we are so lucky that we get to do this. Like, we get to have the option to be able to work from our phone, to be able to have the freedom of time, to be able to, be able to bring in another stream of income, pay off debt. Like this is a solution to our problems. And so how on earth do we have the right to even complain that our team isn't working or that we're frustrated with our business? Like we just don't. And so, so at that moment on, I just thought, I don't if I want my team to work, I'm going to go pray for people who are like me. I'm going to pray for other Amandas to get onto my team. And I just kept working and I just kept pouring into those people who are working. What I was doing before is I was micromanaging. And I learned very quick, like people don't like that. So I thought I'm just going to work with those workers and I'm going to bring new people in. And if those people who aren't working, that's fine. I'm going to bless them out. And if they want to come back, that they more than welcome can. But that's kind of how I just remembered my why. And I remembered like, okay, if I want my business to change, it's going to be 100% up to me. It's not going to be up to my team. It's not going to be up to those people who quit. It's not going to be up to my uplines. Like, and that was the thing also, like I got in with my friend and she, we were kind of like the blind leading the blind, but we did have, all the leaders in the company to kind of like go off of. And so we did allow trial and error. But I will never, like, I love that part of it because now I can coach, our team that way, like what works so they don't have to go through all that.
Gosh, isn't that funny that we have all been through so much trial and error and we just can now I always have to remind my team, I'm like, okay, I promise I'm just going to share with you all the good and the bad. And if I'm coaching you, it's not come from a mean place. It's from, I don't want you to have to go through all that I went through. So yeah. That is awesome. And you found your other Amanda. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. But you're completing your steps of success multiple times. You've always been a high recruiter, distributors and customers. Can you talk us through a little bit about what are your daily non-negotiables? And then a little bit about customer recruitment and customer retention, because we can recruit customers all day, but if they don't keep ordering, we're just spinning the wheels. Right. So kind of what's your day look like?
So I will say the biggest thing that I would say changed myself in this business as a leader, as a mom, as a person, a wife, and just as a business owner in general is the very first thing I do in the morning, and that's Miracle Morning. Are you guys familiar with that book or about doing that? So that was something that literally transformed my business. And so I was at a triple in January, not this past January, but the January that I went, so last January, not this one, but I was sitting at a double at conference. And then I was doing Miracle Morning literally living it every single day. So double in January, and then in May I went presidential. At conference, you guys, I wasn't a number or anything. I was probably a number $1 million in our company. I don't know. No, just joking. I was 200,000 in our company, but in May or in June when they announced the numbers, I was already 66, and then this past one I was 33 at conference. And so it's crazy how something like that can just change so quickly in your business. In a year, I went from 0 to literally 33 in a matter of time. And I literally think that the thing that changed my business the most is the Miracle Morning. So that's the very first thing that I start with every single morning is no matter how early my kids wake up, I will always wake up an hour earlier before they do. So my kids, I normally wake up anywhere between 4 to 5. Right, because of summertime, and my kids will wake up around 6:30 So I have a whole morning to get myself right and to do my mindset and to do my self-development. Self-development, you guys, is the number one thing in this business. Like, you have to have self-development. And I remember somebody told me early on is that your paycheck is parallel to the self-development that you do. So if you want your paycheck to increase, you have to increase your self-development. And so that's one thing that will never like change in my mornings is my miracle morning. Even when I'm out of town and we're gone, like we travel a lot, I'm always waking up before like my kiddos, and I'm sneaking out of our hotel room and going to do like my miracle morning. So that's the first thing I do, and it just sets my day up right. And so on a typical day, my days, like the schedule always looks different, but we always call them the core 4 and more. And so there's 4 like tasks that we do every single day, that these are the non-negotiables. One is obviously going to be posting, to Facebook, Instagram, and then your stories. That's just something that we have to do. But a lot of times and I'll have people on my team and they're like, well, I just worked for today and I just posted, and, and they're like, well, I'm not getting customers or I'm not getting distributors, but I'm posting a lot. And so, it's posting is one part of it. So it's just that one part, letting people know that what you have to offer, that you're open for business, that, you're sharing what we, are using, what this business is doing for us, like that sort of thing. The other thing is growing your network. And I always tell my team, like, if your network is lower, if you have less than 2,500 friends on Facebook, then you need to grow your network as soon as possible to that as fast as possible. So that's a big one is, growing your network every single day, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you do most. I have built my business with Facebook. I'm kind of entering into Instagram just a little bit, but Facebook has just always been my baby. So you'll probably hear me say Facebook a lot, but so growing your network. The other thing is interacting. So this is a good one when it comes to customers too, which Ali asked. So interacting with your network as well as your customers. So, and I'll get into that in just a minute, but that's the third thing is building relationships, interacting. So on stories, I'll spend several times throughout the day. If I have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and I'll just go through stories and interact on them, and go to my customers and kind of comment on some of their stuff or my potentials, and really build relationships with them and message them or comment on like their posts. And whenever I comment, I always try to ask the question, so it creates that conversation with us. And then the fourth one is messaging. So messaging is a really big part of this these 4, combinations. It's probably one of my favorite things to do is message people. And I will message anybody who like views my stories, I message them. Does like my polls, I always message them. Anybody who likes or comments on my Facebook posts, I will message them. I will do, we call it like the green light messaging. So anybody who's active on Messenger, I'll go message them. Anybody who's literally on my Facebook page, they're going to get a message from me. And so messaging is really huge because it's just like if you were to go, you guys probably have this, but probably at least once a week, we have a bug company come to our house. They go in our neighborhood, just knocking door to door and giving us information about their company. So it's just like us, but we do it through social media. So they are literally going door to door and advertising and marketing for their company. They're doing it face to face. The beauty of our business, you guys, is we could do that, but we could actually go and knock out 100 messages in 15, 20 minutes, and we don't have to be out door to door, right? We can just do that, through our social media. So messaging is really, really important. And so those are the 4 things that we do every single day. And then that self-development is literally just so important. So I will do it at night or in the morning, and then also before I go to bed. I'm also doing it in the car. I'm putting on an Audible. I am listening to something when I'm getting ready. Like if I'm in the car, I'm rarely listening to music. And so it's just always playing around me, whether it's a book, an Audible, a podcast, I'll throw on like a Zoom or, something like that, just something just to fuel my mind, my body. Just, we want to become students of this business. And for me, I will tell you, when I learned that I needed to become a student of leadership, That's when my business just, God gives you things when you're ready for them. God will hand you over distributors and a team when he knows that you can lead them. And if you aren't being a student of leadership, if you're not learning how to lead a team, then you're not going to get a team. Or you might get a team and you're going to lose a team. So it's really important that every single day that we are becoming a student of, whatever it is that we're working on, a student of this business.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so true. Like network marketing can be a career. So you have to become a student of network marketing, MLM, leadership, communication, social media, like whatever that is. So instantly, of course, I'm getting lots of messages. People want to know what you're messaging all these people, like how many a day and what are you saying to them? And then I have people asking, what if it's like the same people that you're seeing every day on your green light message who are viewing your stories? Are you messaging the same people every day? So
Yeah.
can you touch on those things?
Yeah, of course. And then I'll get into that customer retention. You might have to remind me again, because I have a couple of tips for that too. But so for messaging, so say like right before this in the family call, like kind of like what Cammie said, like we have 3 days left. And so like tell our family, like we have a lot of work that we have to do, but let's, in 3 days that we're going to do something fun. So that's kind of what we did, like when I got back from our trip. And so I was messaging and I was just doing green light messaging. And so I was literally just getting host to post out. And so I was just sending them a message just saying like, and I just started off with, hey, are you busy right now? And when I send that message, like, hey, are you busy right now? I swear like people will get back to you like it's they will get back to you so quickly. And so, they're like, and I'll even have some people like, oh yeah, hold on, let me give you a call. I'll call you really quick. Like, so it's like, they think like, it's like that I'm literally like needing like something from them. But, so I just say like, hey, are you busy? Are you busy right now? Or, and then at that point I say, okay, and I ask them to host a post for me. So that's what I do. I always try to get out at least 10 host to post every single day, 10 people hosting for me. But I will also, so that's one thing I message every day. And so the other way I message is just say your stories. You're going to get a lot of people who view your stories every day. And so I try to get to those ones who haven't viewed it. And so, and I'll just say like, hey, thanks so much for, watching my stories today. Would you like more information on these products or the business? Because if I post about the products and the business and they literally watched every single story, then I don't, so I'm going to ask them about both. Like, hey, are you interested in, the products and also making some extra money? And that at that point they're like, oh yeah, like tell me about both. Or sometimes they're like, oh, just tell me about the cleanse that you posted about, so they'll kind of be specific of what, and sometimes they're like, oh no, thanks. If they ever say no, thank you, I always ask them to host a post for me. I say, no problem. Hey, will you do me a favor really quick? And then I'll ask them to post for me. And then say the next day I had the same people viewing my stories, I'm not going to message them again. I'm going to try to message the people who haven't. And if the same people keep viewing my stories, I notice it's because I'm not like interacting with other people's stories enough. So what I'll do is I'll scroll through like people that I haven't seen in a while, and I'll start messaging, I'll start commenting on their stories, and then they start seeing my stories more. So it's just playing with that algorithm also. And then let's just say like anybody who comments on or likes my post, I'll just send them a message and I'll just say, hey, thanks for commenting on my post today. Would you like more information on my weight loss coffee? Or thanks for liking my post. Would you like for more information on how I make money from my phone? Something like that. But I'm always messaging people for sure. I think it's just part of that, that process.
That is perfect. And that's so true. Like people can see advertisements all day long, but until you like ask to take their order, like you get a coupon from the restaurant inviting you in, like people don't, like you have to make the ask. If people can't say yes, they're not ask. So what did you want to say about customer retention? Bless you.
So customer retention, sorry, I had like a nice swallowed water and I got like an itch. So I use Connect app a lot for customer retention. Do you guys use the Connect app most, like, at all? I love it for that and to follow up. And so what I do is every single month. So before that though, like, I treat my customers like a distributor almost, like, meaning that I want to know them. Like, I want to get to know them and I want to build a relationship with them, because I will tell you, like, I've signed a lot of customers, and I have left a lot of customers, like, in the dark. Like, I've signed them up and I'm like, oh shoot, like, I haven't even messaged them in their whole 3 months, you know? And so I don't even know if their products are working for them. And so I made a system for myself, because I'm not organized at all, but I made a system for myself so that I don't let customers go, you know, like leave them in the dust. So what I do is I just try to build that relationship with them. I write all of my customers down. So every single month in my notebook, I just write like July customers, like July loyal customers. And I just write their name down and like the date that they, like the, you know, the date that they signed up. And then I put them in my Connect app. So they're already in your Connect app, but what I do is I categorize them. And so like for July, I have all of my July customers already in there. I just make like a separate, you know, what is it, like a separate folder for like July customers, a separate one. I had one for June and, you know, the previous months. And so what I can do is I can go back to like, so say in August, I'll go back to all of my July customers and I can send them a quick email or a quick message and just say, hey, did you get your product in? How is it going? Are you liking it? I also just wanted to update you on our new product, our Just Celery. Would you like some more information on it? You know, so it's a really easy way. And then in August, I can go follow up with everyone in June. And I know that now they're going to be on their second month, right? They had June, July, and now they're on their third month for August. So before their third month goes out, I can just send them a message again and just say, hey, I just wanted to see how your products are going. This is your third month. You know, just wanted to see if you wanted to add anything on to enhance your results, or, you know, just build those relationships. You can say whatever you want. And then normally at their fourth month is when I let them know about their perk points. And so I'm just constantly communicating with them through like that Connect app. That seems to be the easiest way for me to do that versus like, you know, I was before like just writing them all down in my folder, which I still do. But before I was just, you know, I wouldn't go back and message them or follow up with them. Whereas the Connect app, it just makes it so easy to do it. You can send them all the same message within the matter of a couple minutes.
That's so good. Yeah, I love Connect for current customers. Absolutely. Because a promo comes out or something, you can message hundreds of people so quickly. So that's awesome. That's a great tip. So last thing I want to ask about, and then if you guys have any other questions, absolutely, you know, put them in the chat and we can feed them in here. But is kind of how you start off your newbies. Like a new distributor joins your team. How are you getting them started? How are you kind of duplicating through your team? And then how do you raise up leadership? You know, how are you creating those layers of leaders? Because you can't go ambassador alone. You know, like you said, the right people started rising up and they were hungry for it. So can you kind of take us through your process of a new DT starts, like now what?
Yeah. So the first thing I do is I actually, I have them download the Connect app. I had them download Zoom, and then I have them take the color personality test. So those are the first 3 things that like I have them do. I also, before that, I typically will already know why they're joining this business. But if I don't, I kind of have them reiterate that to me and just like say like, okay, like tell me a little bit more about like what you're wanting out of this business. Like when we're talking about the color personality test. So those are the 3 things I do. And if you guys haven't like checked out like the trainings that they have in the Connect app now, like they're so good. So I just start them off with that, and I just say, okay, you know, do your Connect app trainings, like let me know when you're done with that, and then we're going to get you on, you know, start to post and get your first 4 customers. Like that's our first goal, is to get your first 4 customers. And so so after they've done their training and their personality, and we kind of, you know, like I know what their goals are, then I also add them to our team page. But at that point, I help them with their first post. And their first post is just going to be like their welcoming, like their like excited post, you know, and I kind of give them like a little verbiage on kind of what to say, but I have them make it personal to them. I have them throw in like why they're doing this business, what they're excited about. and then they throw up a little like a picture of their family or a selfie. So I have them do that, and then I will also have them make their list of like 20 to 30 people. Once they make their list of that, then I literally give them a message to send out. And I know Allie does this too because she mentioned it, but I literally will walk them like step by step on what to say back to them. I say, don't respond to them. Like, send me a screenshot and I will give you, a response to give back to them. And I kind of walk them through it until they feel comfortable. And so a lot of times, like, I will have people who I do this for the first couple of days, and then after that, they're like good. Like, they have their responses, they've saved them. But then I have other people who will literally, like, I will do this for a while until they feel comfortable. If they're working and they're doing stuff, I don't mind, helping them with verbiages until they feel comfortable. Now, if it's like the same verbiages over and over, I say, hey, make sure you're saving these into your phone. Like, I love to use the app called Wordboard. It's just like a text replacement, and it just, it works, I think, both for Android and iPhone. And so that's why I like that one. But yeah, I just walk them through. I make sure that they are getting onto the trainings. Like we have weekly trainings for our team. So I make sure that they're always on them and they come to at least one power hour. So I just really try to stay like connected with them and kind of just show them like, I'm here every step of the way for you. And I try to just build that relationship with them. If they're local to me, I try to get them over to my house, or I have, which we stopped doing for a long time, but just recently we're starting to bring back, try it, or like, welcome or parties, like for them to get started. So that's been good. We did 2, like, I think for 2 of mine that are just like local here. I have another one like this weekend, and like they get so excited. And then it also like builds that relationship with them because you're right there and you're in there with them, face to face, and they can see your excitement. They can feel your energy. They can feel your confidence. And so we are really bringing that back as are those parties. And so I'm trying to look at these comments here, but so that's really what we do. And I just think like knowing why they're doing this business is going to be so, so important. And then you can go back and say, hey, Allie, like you told me like this is the reason you're wanting to do this business. Like, did something change? Did you, and like I even had one girl, she's like, I just don't think this is for me. And I said, and I knew why she was doing this. And I was like, well, why do you think this isn't for you? And she's like, I just don't think I have the time for this. Like, and I was like, do you feel like overwhelmed? And she said, yes. Like, she didn't feel like she had the time because she felt so overwhelmed. And so you can kind of, instead of being like, oh, okay, well, just let me know when you're ready. Like, we just kind of talked about it. And I just kind of like got down to her level and said, I felt the same way. Like, I felt overwhelmed when I started this too, but let me kind of walk you through, and we kind of came up with a solution for her so she doesn't feel so overwhelmed. But I think just really like being there for a distributor and not just thinking that they're a distributor on your team, but they're really somebody who you're going to help and serve and lead them to the top with you. And what I like to do to like create like layered leadership and to rise up leaders is I start people off right off the bat that they are like, if they have a distributor, they're a leader. They're literally, a leader on the team. And so I let leaders go at their different paces, but, that they want to go. But like what I do is like, say I sign up a distributor and I'm trying to build my 2.0 right now. So say I'm trying to build, an emerald for that 2.0. And I gift a distributor to somebody. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to put the distributor that I just gifted, as well as the distributor, I'm going to put those two in a say, hey, this is your co-sponsor, and I'm going to introduce them to their co-sponsor who I just gifted them to. And what that does is automatically, even if that person is new, that I just gave that distributor to, even if they're just brand new, like a week or 2 weeks, what it's doing is they're like, oh, like I'm a leader now. Like I have somebody underneath me. Like it's exciting for them. And they either do one of 2 things. Either one, they like, and I would say 90% of the time they're going to step up into that leadership role. But sometimes they just kind of like, they continue being a newbie and just, and that's totally fine. But a lot of times they're going to step up into that leadership role and they're going to help me lead that newbie, even though they're just learning too, but they help find the answers. They help answer the questions. They help, lead that person. And so that's kind of how I rise up leaders, is I just put them into that role, and I just kind of encourage them and coach them and cast that vision onto them. And like I said, a lot of times they're going to step up, sometimes they don't, and that's totally fine. And then what I do, like with my actual like diamond and above leaders, is we have a group chat, and we every single month, like I put out a calendar and I say, okay, these dates need to be filled, like who wants to do the trainings, who wants to do, I just put a bunch of things that we do as a team, and whoever wants to lead can lead. I don't ever push it, because sometimes they're just not ready. And if I see that they're not like putting their names on the tasks, then I'll go in and I'll message them. I'll say, hey, do you want to do this Zoom with me? And we can do it together. Do you want to do this power hour with me? And we can do it together until you feel comfortable. Or do you want to go live on our team page together with me? So I'll try to help lead them until they're ready to like, lead, like, on their own kind of thing. But that's kind of how I do like my leadership, as well as like rising newbies.
That is all amazing. And the idea of like using the word co-sponsor is genius, because so often I've done the same thing, but I'm like, hey, this is Lindsay and she's also on the team and she can help you. Like, oh my gosh, like co-sponsor, brilliant. We have one more question. Somebody said, my team and I haven't hit our summer goals. How do I keep the discouragement away? Some are discouraged and I'm starting to feel it too.
Yeah, I would just say like casting that vision, and like, if we have a team, like never letting them know like that we're discouraged, or, and I always like say like during this time, like everyone has like their seasons of business, and if this is a season where it, and I hate word, I don't like using the word slow or anything like that, because we literally do, we go at the pace that we want to go. I mean, let's just be honest. Like if we want our summer to be busy, we're going to make sure that we make it super, super busy by putting the work into it. And so obviously there are seasons of businesses where there's going to be really, really busy, and it's going to be really, that's our planting season. For me, I knew we had a huge boom in February, March, April. We just had a huge boom, tons of promotions. We went ambassador. My husband went presidential. Like we had tons of triples on our team, so many promotions. So I knew the next couple of months were going to be our planting season. And so I was aware of that, because I've been in this for 5 years. And so what I did with my team is I kind of coached them for that. Like I kind of like talked to them and said, okay, you guys, the next couple months, like we are going to need to work a little bit harder, but it's going to be planting. That means that summertime, when we're busy, we still need to work our business. When we have our kids, we still need to work our business. And our team's going to go at our speed. Our team, like if I'm like, hey guys, good morning. Like, hey, I'm getting this message out. I'm sending this to 10 people really quick. Like who wants to do it with me? You're going to have people to do that, versus if you just woke up and did it on your own. Like include your team on what you're doing so they see that you're working too. And so I would say like, just being there, being positive, casting visions with your team, and making sure you're doing self-development. But again, like we're going to go at our speed. And so sometimes like we wanted that next rank when when we want it, or we want like, I want to get to double diamond like this month. Is it going to happen? No, I'm pretty far off. Am I going to work for it next month? Absolutely. And so, but if I don't get it, that's okay. I have another month to work on it, right? And so we just keep going. As long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to rise up to the top. Like that's all it is to it, as long as you keep going. The minute you stop and you don't put one foot in front of the other, the minute your business isn't going to grow, because remember, whatever we do today is going to pay off tomorrow, next week, next month. And so if we are, constantly working, you're going to see growth. And sometimes during this summer, it might be a planting season for you, but I guarantee after you plant for a little bit, what happens, right? If you're constantly planting, what's going to happen? Like your garden is going to grow into this beautiful harvest, and you're going to promote, you're going to have lots of team promote, and your business is going to rock. And so I think it's just constantly, what's your mindset? How are you feeding into your team? What's your energy into your team? And that's going to, correlate to them. And there's always going to be people who are disappointed or, discouraged. And that's where mindset, that's where self-development is going to come into. And it's okay to tell them too, like I had somebody who yesterday, she was like, I'm just not getting lucky. Like I've had no luck today. And so I just told her, I said, first, I'm like, I want you to take that word out of out of your vocabulary. This business, there is no such thing as luck. It is literally work. It is a business. And so take that word out of your vocabulary when it comes to this business, because there's no such thing of it. You have to work if you want it. And so sometimes I am very straightforward like that, because I want people to know that, you don't just get to ambassador by being lucky. You don't get to diamond by being lucky. You get to diamond by working, right? And by putting one foot in front of the other, even if it is a little bit slow for your business.
Gosh, that's so good. Everybody's just loving this. I'm getting messages and everything. So it's always so great. So obviously Miracle Morning was a huge game changer. If you guys haven't read it, it's a really fast read. It's a great listen. Obviously Miracle Morning was a huge thing for you, personal development. Do you have any other that like it's a favorite or really connected with you, or what are you reading right now that's you're just loving?
So right now I'm actually reading, so I've been listening to podcasts quite a bit, and I'll share with you the book that I've been reading, but I have been listening to the Mindset and Motivation podcast. Have you guys heard of that or listened to that?
Yeah, I have.
I listen to that like all through, and there's such short episodes, and so you can listen to several. So I've been doing that, and then I'll go back between some other people, but the book I've been reading, and this is the second time, it's the leadership, or John Maxwell, Developing a Leader Within You 2.0. So he has a book out, like the original one. And so I read that like a while ago, and now I'm doing the 2.0, and I absolutely love it. I don't know if you guys have read it, but some of the other ones that I have read that just recently. So if you're a newbie, I always recommend reading the book Go for No. Or if you haven't even read it, I recommend reading that. Like that's one of the very first books that I would recommend to read. Millionaire Mindset is a really, really good one. Can't Hurt Me is a good one. I don't know if you guys have read that one. I listened to it on the Audible. I normally listen to a lot of my books on the Audible, but I do try to read every morning. High Performance Habits is a good one. But I would say, like, if you are a newbie, I would say Go for No, and then also Beach Money. That one's a really good one too. So those are my two for that. And then for leadership, I would say the ones that I just mentioned. But I would say, like, pick something that, go to the podcast and, like, listen to that, or, pick something that you feel like that you want to grow in, whether it's leadership, whether it's like your mindset, whether it is, just, confidence, whatever it is that you feel like you need to, then like Google that, or ask like your team, like, hey, this is what I want to like learn in. Does anybody have a good book for that?
Oh, I love that. Well, I took all those notes. So you guys on the team page, I'll definitely put those all in there. I've never read Can't Hurt Me. So now I'm going to have to. That's a new one on my list. That's not on my shelf.
I would do like the, it's long, but I would do like the Audible, because has anybody read it or listened to it? If you do the Audible, they do, it's like a podcast almost also. So they'll do the chapter, and then in between, like, he and like the person who's like reading the book is like live, like asking questions and kind of talking about it in more detail. It's so good. But it's just more like no excuses, like literally no excuses. It's just like that like hardcore like mindset. It's like what this person goes through is just insane. And so it makes us like, I just felt like after I read that, I'm like, gosh, I can, like, what I complain about or, anything like that is like nothing compared, to what this guy kind of went through and what he does to, get out of to overcome things.
Oh, I love that. I love real life stories of people like overcoming. That always is really inspiring to me.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, Amanda, I cannot thank you enough. You are just the best. I'm so excited that we got to do this with our teams, and then I'll see you at Green Carpet and at the ranch.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah. And we're all obviously going to be at Costa Rica too. So.
Yes. Oh, I'm hustling hard for that top 20 spot. That would be amazing. The team knows that I am like claiming it all the time, and we're just trying to get everybody on the team to diamond.
Yes.
And I figured if everybody can go diamond, then we'll be a Costa Rica team.
Absolutely. I know.
Wow.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Well, thank you guys for having me on. I feel so honored.
Thank you. And I will get you the recording of this if your team wants to see it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Bye, guys.